At Victoria Noble Academy, a prestigious all-girls secondary school known for its high standards, Nana was the epitome of perfection. At just 16, she had already carved a name for herself as the brightest student in the school. She was not only admired for her sharp intellect, but also for her striking beauty: long, jet-black hair, smooth, glowing skin, and expressive dark eyes that seemed to captivate anyone who looked at her. Every morning, she would wake up early, neatly tie her hair into 2 perfect buns, and slip into her spotless school uniform. As she walked through the grand gates of Victoria Noble Academy, heads turned. Students whispered as she passed by, "There goes Nana, the perfect one." But Nana never let the admiration distract her. She was laser-focused on her education, determined to maintain her position at the top. In the classroom, Nana was always the first to raise her hand, her answers precise and well-articulated. Teachers took pride in her academic excellence, often using her work as a benchmark for others. While many girls in school juggled studies with social life, Nana sacrificed everything for her books. She had no time for gossip, cliques, or frivolous distractions. After school, when others rushed home or to their extracurricular activities, Nana stayed behind in the empty classroom, absorbed in her books. She would revise every lesson, take meticulous notes, and ensure that she understood every concept before heading home. She believed that success came only through relentless effort, and she was determined to excel through hard work alone. But then came Aisha, one of her classmates, known for her sharp tongue and playful attitude. Unlike Nana, Aisha believed in shortcuts, often finding ways to charm her way out of trouble. She had observed something that Nana had been oblivious to: the way teachers, especially the male ones, seemed to favor her. One evening, as Nana was deep into her literature textbook, Aisha approached her desk with a smirk. "You know, Nana, if I looked like you, I wouldn't be stressing over books all the time." Nana blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" Aisha chuckled and leaned closer. "Haven't you noticed how the teachers look at you? Mr. Thompson stammers when he talks to you. Mr. Okafor always praises your essays like they're the best thing he's ever read. You could easily get good grades without working so hard." Nana frowned. The idea was foreign to her. She had never imagined using anything other than intelligence and effort to succeed. "That wouldn't be right," she said firmly. Aisha shrugged. "It's just a thought. Life could be easier for you, Nana. Think about it." That night, as Nana lay in bed, Aisha's words echoed in her mind. Could it be true? Had she been blind to something that could make her life simpler? For the first time, doubt crept into her heart, threatening to shake the foundation of everything she believed in. And that doubt would soon lead her down a path she never expected. The seed of doubt planted by Aisha refused to leave Nana's mind. Though she had initially dismissed the idea as ridiculous, a small part of her wondered, could it really work? Could she afford to relax a little, to let her beauty do some of the heavy lifting instead of spending sleepless nights buried in books? For the first time in her life, Nana found herself hesitating before opening her textbooks. The thought of an easier path was tempting. She had always been the hard-working one, the one who sacrificed sleep and fun to maintain her academic excellence. But what if there was another way? The next morning, she woke up earlier than usual and stood in front of her mirror, studying her reflection with newfound awareness. Her skin was flawless, her eyes bright, her features delicate and symmetrical. She had always seen herself simply as a girl who worked hard, but Aisha's words had made her realize something else: she was beautiful. Tentatively, she reached for a makeup kit, an untouched birthday gift from her mother. With trembling hands, she applied a light layer of foundation, a touch of blush, and a swipe of soft pink lip gloss. Then, for the first time ever, she let her long black hair fall freely over her shoulders, instead of tying it into her usual twin buns. When she arrived at school that morning, the change was immediate. Heads turned. Whispers followed her down the hallway. Even some of her teachers paused longer than usual when they looked at her. Is it just my imagination? She wondered. The real test came in Mr. Thompson's mathematics class. That day, he handed out a surprise quiz, one that Nana hadn't prepared for. A rush of panic seized her. She had barely studied the chapter, and the questions seemed harder than usual. As Mr. Thompson walked past her desk, collecting papers, Nana hesitated, then decided to test Aisha's theory. She looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes and smiled sweetly. "Mr. Thompson," she said softly, tilting her head slightly, "I hope I did well on the quiz. I really want to maintain my good grades in your class." For a moment, he looked taken aback. His face turned slightly red and he coughed before replying, "I'm sure you did just fine, Nana. You're my best student, after all." The next day, when the graded quizzes were returned, Nana's heart pounded as she flipped through her paper. A perfect score. But she knew that she hadn't answered all the questions correctly. She had always been confident in her abilities, but this time, it wasn't intelligence that had secured her grade. It was something else entirely. Encouraged by the success of her small experiment, Nana began testing the limits of this newfound power. She started paying more attention to the way she interacted with her teachers. A smile here, a lingering glance there, a soft-spoken request for extra help. And every time, it worked. Her grades remained at the top, even on subjects she barely studied for. But while Nana felt relieved at being able to take a break from her exhausting study routine, her classmates were beginning to notice. The same girls who had once admired her now whispered behind her back. The admiration in their eyes slowly turned into resentment. She barely studies anymore, but her grades never drop. Did you see how Mr. Okafor looked at her during the last test? No wonder she's getting perfect scores. She thinks she's so special. Maybe she's just playing the teachers. Nana was too caught up in her own success to pay much attention to the whispers. She assured herself that they were just jealous, that no one truly understood the pressure of being at the top. She was simply making things easier for herself. What was wrong with that? But then, one evening, as she was about to leave school, she overheard something that made her blood run cold. As she passed by an empty classroom, she heard Mr. Thompson's voice inside, speaking in hushed tones. "Have you noticed how Nana has been acting lately?" "Yes," replied Mr. Okafor, the literature teacher. "It's quite a change. She seems more aware of her beauty. And the way she interacts with us, it's different." "It's becoming a problem," Mr. Okafor continued. "The other students are starting to complain. They think we're showing favoritism." Then, Mr. Thompson chuckled. "Well, can you blame us? She's a beautiful young woman. But you're right, we need to be careful. Maybe we can lure her to a hotel over the weekend. You know? Meet her outside school premises." Nana's heart stopped. She barely registered the sound of her own breath as she stepped away from the door, her pulse racing in her ears. What had she gotten herself into? Nana's hands trembled as she hurried away from the classroom, her heart pounding against her ribs. She had only wanted to make things a little easier for herself to use what she had without really harming anyone. But this was something else entirely. She had played with fire, and now the flames were closing in around her. That night, Nana tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. The words of her teachers replayed in her mind like a broken record. "Maybe we can lure her to a hotel." The meaning was clear. Mr. Thompson and Mr. Okafor were no longer just impressed by her beauty. They were expecting something in return. She felt sick. What have I done? For the first time since she had started this experiment, Nana felt truly afraid. She had thought she was in control, that she was simply testing a theory. But now she realized she had opened a door she didn't know how to close. The next day at school, everything felt different. The same smiles from teachers that once reassured her now sent chills down her spine. Every compliment now felt loaded. Every approving glance seemed dangerous. She needed to stop. She needed to fix this before it got worse. Part 4. Aisha's Betrayal. After school, Nana sought out Aisha, the person who had planted this idea in her head in the first place. She found her sitting under a tree in the schoolyard, casually scrolling through her phone. "Aisha, I need to talk to you." Aisha glanced up, smirking. "What's up, beauty queen? Enjoying your new life?" Nana hesitated. The old her would have been offended by that nickname, but right now, she had bigger problems. She took a deep breath. "I think I made a mistake. The teachers, they're expecting more than just smiles now." That caught Aisha's attention. She locked her phone and leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "I overheard Mr. Thompson and Mr. Okafo talking. They're planning something. They think that I'd be willing to meet them outside school." Aisha raised an eyebrow, amused. "Well, isn't that what you wanted? You wanted to use your beauty, and now they're just responding to it." Nana's stomach twisted. "No, I never meant for this to happen. I just wanted to see if it worked. I thought it was harmless. But now it's too much. I want to stop." Aisha was quiet for a moment, then leaned in closer. "Listen, Nana. You've come this far. Don't back out now. If the teachers want more, give them what they want." Nana's breath caught in her throat. She stared at Aisha, horrified. "What? No? I can't do that." Aisha rolled her eyes. "Why not? Think about it. You've already gotten the grades, the admiration, the attention. You don't want to lose all of that, do you?" "I don't care about that anymore," Nana snapped, stepping back. "This is wrong, Aisha. I never should have started this. I'm going to stop right now." Aisha's expression darkened. "Suit yourself," she muttered, shrugging. But there was something unsettling about the way she said it, something that made Nana's stomach churn. The next morning, Nana arrived at school with a clear mind and a heavy heart. She tied her hair back into its usual twin buns, washed the makeup from her face, and put on her uniform without the careful attention she had given it before. Today, she was ready to go back to the old Nana, the girl who earned her success through hard work and nothing else. She was ready to face the consequences of her actions. But as soon as she stepped into the school compound, she knew something was wrong. Groups of students were clustered together, whispering in hushed tones. Some were staring at her. Others pointed and giggled behind their hands. Confused and anxious, Nana made her way to class, ignoring the strange looks. But the moment she stepped into the classroom, a hush fell over the room. She felt the weight of dozens of eyes on her, but this time there was no admiration, no envy, just disgust. Her heart pounded. What's going on? And then Aisha stood up. A slow, cruel smile spread across her face. "Well, well," she said loudly, crossing her arms. "If it isn't our little teacher's pet. Or should I say little whore?" Nana's breath hitched. The words stabbed through her like a knife. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Aisha took a step closer. "Oh, come on, Nana. Everyone knows what you've been doing to get those grades." She turned to the class. "Sleeping with the teachers for favors? That's low even for you." A wave of gasps rippled through the classroom. Some girls murmured in agreement. Others just stared, waiting for Nana to react. Nana's world spun. "That's not true," she cried. "I never did anything like that." But no one believed her. The whispers spread like wildfire. The same classmates who once admired her now looked at her like she was filth. And then, as if the nightmare couldn't get any worse, a stern voice cut through the tension. "Nana, come with me, immediately." She turned to see Miss Agatha, the school principal, standing at the doorway. Her expression was unreadable, but the coldness in her voice was unmistakable. As Nana followed Miss Agatha through the long, echoing hallways, she felt hundreds of eyes watching her, judging her. She had wanted to stop this before it got out of control. But she was too late. And she had no idea that this was only the beginning of her fall. Nana's footsteps felt heavy as she followed Miss Agatha through the long corridors of Victoria Noble Academy. Every whisper, every pointed look, every muffled giggle from passing students made her feel as though the walls were closing in around her. She swallowed the lump in her throat, trying to steady her breath. This is just a misunderstanding. If I explain everything, they'll believe me, right? When they reached the principal's office, Miss Agatha gestured for her to sit. Nana obeyed, folding her hands tightly in her lap to keep them from trembling. The principal sat across from her, studying her with piercing eyes. "Nana," she began, "I've heard some very disturbing rumors about your behavior with certain teachers." Nana's heart clenched. "Miss Agatha, I swear I never—" Miss Agatha raised a hand, cutting her off. "I want the truth, Nana. The school's reputation is at stake. The parents are already calling, demanding answers." Nana's hands tightened into fists. Parents? How had the rumors spread so quickly? "It's not true," she insisted. "I never did anything with any teacher. I did try to use my looks a little to get favor. But I swear I never crossed any lines." Miss Agatha sighed, leaning back in her chair. "Whether or not it's true, Nana, it doesn't matter. The damage has been done. Students are talking, teachers are under suspicion, and our school's integrity is in question." She picked up a sheet of paper and placed it on the desk between them. "Victoria Noble Academy cannot afford a scandal like this. Effective immediately, you are expelled." Nana's world shattered. No, please," she begged, her voice breaking. "I've worked so hard for this. You can't just throw me out based on a rumor." Miss Agatha's expression softened just a little. "I know you are a bright student, Nana, but this is out of my hands. You need to go home and tell your parents. They will be notified as well." Tears burned Nana's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had lost everything. Her perfect record, her reputation, her future at Victoria Noble Academy. And worst of all, she had no way to prove her innocence. As Nana walked out of the principal's office, numb and disoriented, she froze when she saw Aisha standing in the hallway. Their eyes met. Aisha smirked. In that instant, Nana understood. She did this. Why? Nana's voice was barely a whisper. Aisha crossed her arms. "Because you thought you were better than everyone else. Because you had everything: beauty, brains, attention. And because it was too easy to make everyone turn against you." Nana's hands shook with rage. "I trusted you," she hissed. Aisha just laughed. "That was your mistake, Nana. You should have known when you play dirty. Someone will always be dirtier." Nana clenched her fists. She wanted to scream, to fight back, to tear Aisha apart for what she had done. But it didn't matter anymore. The school had already decided her fate. And Aisha had won. That evening, Nana sat in her room, staring blankly at the ceiling. Her parents had been furious when they heard the news. "We raised you better than this," her father had shouted. Her mother had been more practical. "We'll find you another school. You can start fresh." But Nana knew that no matter where she went, the stain of this scandal would follow her. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up without thinking. A message. From an unknown number. "Meet me at the Grand Plaza Hotel this weekend. Room 203. Let's discuss your future." Her stomach twisted. She didn't need to ask who it was. She already knew. Mr. Thompson. He still thought she was playing the game. He still thought she would accept the offer. Nana's fingers tightened around her phone. She could do one of two things. Ignore it. Disappear. run away and try to rebuild her life. Fight back. Her entire life had been destroyed because of a lie. But what if she could turn the tables? A slow, bitter smile formed on her lips. You want to play games, Mr. Thompson? Fine, let's play. For the first time since her downfall, Nana felt powerful again. And this time, she wasn't going to lose. Nana had always been known for her intelligence, and she wasn't about to let it go to waste now. If Mr. Thompson thought she was some Navi girl who could be manipulated, he was gravely mistaken. She wasn't going to run. She wasn't going to beg for forgiveness. She was going to end this once and for all. Taking a deep breath, she screenshot the message from the unknown number. She knew that wasn't enough proof. He could always deny it, say someone else used his phone. No, she needed something bigger. She needed evidence that no one could ignore. And for that, she needed help. There was only one person in school who might be able to help her, someone who was known for digging up secrets and exposing them. Zainab. Zainab was a quiet, sharp-witted girl who ran the school's anonymous gossip blog. She knew everything about everyone. If there was dirt to find on someone, she would find it. Nana had never been particularly close to her, but now she had no choice. She found Zainab sitting in the library, typing away on her laptop. I need your help, Nana said, sliding into the seat across from her. Zainab barely looked up. Funny. Everyone's been talking about you, and now you want my help? I have a story for you, Nana said, leaning in. A big one. But I need proof first. That got her attention. Zainab shut her laptop and folded her arms. Go on. Nana hesitated, then told her everything about Aisha, the rumors, the teachers, and the message from Mr. Thompson. Zainab raised an eyebrow. You're saying a teacher is actually trying to meet you at a hotel? Nana nodded. If I can get proof, will you expose it? Zainab smirked. I don't just expose things, Nana. I destroy people with the truth. But you better be sure about this. If you're lying, you'll never recover from it. I'm sure, Nana said firmly. Zainab leaned back, thinking, all right, we need a recording. A message isn't enough. He could claim it's fake. You need to go to that hotel and get him to admit what he wants. A chill ran down Nana's spine. She had expected this, but hearing it out loud made it real. You want me to actually go? You don't have to do anything, Zainab said. Just record the conversation. If he tries anything, we'll be right outside. We'll set a trap for him. It was dangerous, but Nana knew it was the only way. I'll do it. The weekend arrived too quickly. Nana stood in front of Grand Plaza Hotel, her hands clammy as she clutched her phone. Zainab and a few trusted students from the gossip blog were parked nearby, ready to record and call the police if things went too far. Breathe, Nana. Just get the evidence and get out. She walked inside, her heart pounding, and took the elevator to room 203. Mr. Thompson opened the door with a smirk. He had dressed casually, as if this was just a normal meeting between two friends. I'm glad you came, he said smoothly, stepping aside to let her in. Nana forced a nervous smile, stepping into the room while keeping her phone recording in her pocket. You said we should talk about my future, she said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Mr. Thompson chuckled, locking the door behind her. Yes, Nana. You're a bright girl. It would be a shame if this little scandal ruined your life. But I can help you. Nana swallowed hard. How? He sat next to her, leaning in slightly. Well, you scratch my back. I scratch yours. I've always liked you, Nana. And I think we can work something out just between us. Her stomach churned, but she kept her face neutral. You mean if I do something for you, you'll clear my name? He smiled. That's right. No one has to know. And that was it. That was all she needed. Before he could say another word, Nana stood up and walked to the door. "Thank you, sir," she said sweetly. "That's all I needed to hear." Confused, Mr. Thompson frowned. "Wait, what?" Suddenly, the door burst open. Zainab, along with 2 other students and a female school administrator, stormed in. And Nana pulled out her phone, stopping the recording and pressing play. "I've always liked you, Nana. And I think we can work something out just between us." Mr. Thompson's face drained of color. The school administrator's eyes widened in horror. "Mr. Thompson," she said coldly, "you are under investigation for misconduct. Pack your things. You'll be dealing with the police next." Nana watched as Mr. Thompson's world collapsed. Just like hers had. Only this time, he deserved it. The scandal broke within hours. Zainab's blog exposed everything: the messages, the recording, the truth. The school was forced to take action, and Mr. Thompson was immediately fired and arrested. And as for Aisha, when the truth came out, her smug smile vanished. Students turned on her instead, disgusted that she had ruined Nana's reputation for nothing more than jealousy. Nana had been ready to confront her, but she didn't need to. Aisha had destroyed herself. Victoria Noble Academy formally apologized to Nana, but the damage had been done. She chose not to return. Instead, she embraced her fresh start at Ica High School, walking through its gates not as a broken girl, but as someone who had fought back and won. She had learned the hardest lesson of her life. Her beauty had been both a gift and a curse. But in the end, it wasn't her looks that saved her. It was her intelligence, courage, and determination. And this time, she would succeed on her own terms.